Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And we've got more class tuning adjustments coming in for the 11.0.5 patch, or the 20th anniversary patch, which is bringing some really cool transmogs updated with their graphics qualities and events. But in today's video, we're just going to cover the most recent class changes, which just happened literally like 7 hours ago at this point here. So let's just dive into it here. For Boomkin, they're buffing Balance of All Things again, from 8 to 16 to 10 to 20. So that's going to be a nice buff in PvE and PvP. It might make that talent a lot more respectable to take. They're buffing New Moon and Half Moon as well by 10 and 20% respectively. So maybe trying out some full moon builds could definitely be on the table here. But Rattle the Stars is receiving a significant nerf, 2% down from 12 down to 10. Interested? I don't know why they're nerfing. Is Boomkin that strong in PvE? Because like that seems weird to me. And then Umbral Inspiration is getting nerfed again too, from 35 down to 30. So some buffs to things we don't really use and nerfs to things that are pretty core. So that's definitely going to be felt more like a nerf, at least for PvP. Circle of Life is removed. I actually liked playing with this. I don't know. What are they going to put in its place is what I'm curious about. But they say they're not happy with it. Feel obligated to take it. Okay. They're buffing Starfire back, at least, I think. Is it going to get buffed in PvP as well? They completely nerfed this like out of the game earlier on in the expansion, and I was actually having fun playing the Starfire build. So it's nice to see some of those nerfs rewinded a bit, I guess. So maybe we'll try the Starfire build with the changes that are coming in here. Maybe, I don't think you can play a full moon build, though. Maybe, I don't know. Does it buffs Fury of Elune, so I assume that tree also buffs full moon as well. So maybe there could be like a full moon Starfire nuke Boomkin build with these changes. Trank shots empowered by Kodo Tranquilizer will now prioritize players, so quality of life improvements for Hunter. Dark Arrow can now only benefit from Bleak Powder once per cast. I don't know how significant that is. Gaining Withering Fire now grants you Death Blow, so you'll be able to reset your Black Arrow, which replaces Kill Shot. Shadow Daggers, though, has got nerfed by 90%. Black Arrow's damage over time effect is now exclusive per caster. Per caster. So you can only have it on one target, or does it mean you can only have one stack of its dot? Bleak Powder's cone size increased by 50%, and its visual size has been increased. For Beast Mastery Dark Ranger, Withering Fire stacking aura duration increased to 3 minutes, up from 1, so you have more time to actually get to it. Withering Fire now requires only 3 Bestial Wraths to trigger, down from 4. And Bleak Powder is going to do 100% more damage for Beast Mastery. Shadow Hands are also going to get Beast Cleave, so they'll get AoE. Bleak Arrow's chance to trigger Death Blow increased to 20, up from 15. So it seems like BM is getting a lot bigger of an improvement here for Dark Ranger. We see some like bug fixes, quality of life improvements for Marksmanship Hunter. Your 4-piece bonus no longer inconsistently consumed. Now consistently benefit all damage instances of trick shots, and now behave properly with spell queued arcane shots and multi-shots. Those seem like some really core bugs. That basically means your set bonus is actually working now. So that's a pretty big improvement for Marksman. The range of Sikkim enhanced. Kill shots have been reduced. Survival is getting reduced ranged. Harpoon will now find an appropriate destination during the Rashawn fight, the Dawnbreaker dungeon. Now, I've seen Bic Mix on Survival Hunter complaining about the Harpoon, and I think a Harpoon might be something else in PvP where it like takes you too far away or something like that. I wonder if that will have any impact on that, or if it's literally just this mob. Frostfire Mage is getting Frostfire burst damage increased by 25%. Frostfire infusion damage increased by 50%. Is this the stacking modifier? Because if it is, that's a lot of damage. Isothermic core meteor damage increased by 15, and isothermic core comet storm damage. That seems like a big buff. So I think Frostfire is not being played in PvE. They're all playing Sun Fury. So Frostfire is getting these buffs, but in PvP it's played all the time. So that could be really big for Mage. Gravity Lapse is going up to a 40-second from 30. I think it's because it's AoE and they turned it into a stun, so it's probably like more in line with like a Shockwave or a Chaos Nova. Meteorites are now summoned instantly for Spellslinger. Arcane Missiles no longer consumes Ice Flows if you have Slipstream talented, so quality of life improvements. Spellfrost Teachings procs now properly increase your Arcane Orb damage by 10%. Bug fixes for Spellslinger. Fire Mage, you got a 3% damage nerf. Feels Fire Mage, man. Lit Fuse, though, has a 6% chance to trigger up from 4. Lit Fuse no longer highlights Fire Blast. I don't know what that is about. Lit Fuse is now displayed on the personal resource display. Explosive Ingenuity now increases Lit Fuse's chance to trigger by 4%, up from 3. So they basically gutted Lit Fuse build out of the game, and now it's like they're trying to slowly rewind it, maybe back to a spot that's healthier than where it was. Explosive Ingenuity now increases living bomb damage by 50, up from 25. Explosivo's living bomb damage increased while combustion reduced to 30 from 40. Sparking Cinders now triggers 3 times per minute, up from 2. I don't know what Sparking Cinders is. Sparking Cinders damage bonus increased to 15% for Pyroblast and Flame Strike, up from 10 for Pyroblast and 20 for Flame Strike. So Pyroblast is getting a little bit more damage. Sun Fury, Burden of Power, now increases Pyroblast damage by 5%. Okay, so that's why they did a 3% nerf. They're doing these compensated buffs. Burden of Power now increases Flame Strike only by 30, down from 60. So Flame Strike's getting nerfed, Living Bomb's getting buffed, and single target's going up a tiny bit. Glorious Incandescence now highlights Fire Blast, just quality of life. Shadow Pan Monks added an energy tracker. This aura shows the player how much energy they have spent towards their next set of Flurry Strikes. Flurry Strikes are no longer cancelable and no longer have a duration. Flurry Strikes unleash energy. Trigger threshold is now 240 down from 300, so you get them more frequently. The flurries hit less damage though by 8%. Flurry Strike accumulator threshold increased by 47%. I have no idea what that means. Wisdom of the Wall bonus effects reduced, duration reduced to 16 seconds down from 20. Against all odds, duration reduced to 5 from 6. The goal of these changes is to allow Shadow Pan to activate Flurry Strikes more frequently and have a better understanding of when the Flurry Strikes are going to be unleashed on their foes. Are people still gonna, it's all just passive still, isn't it? I don't know. I guess like in PvP, are you really going to try and line that up? Maybe you would. You could try to line it up, but I think it might be a bit rough. Blackout Kick's getting a 20% damage buff. That's going to be crazy in PvP. Flurry of Zwen damage increased by 40% as well. Fixed an issue caused Courageous Impulse to incorrectly buff the damage of Blackout Kick by more than intended. Okay, so this is, they fixed a bug and then buffed it baseline. So that seems to be like, I don't know, that might just be a net neutral change. Flagellation is not going down to a 1 minute cooldown. They canceled that change. Death Perception now also increases symbol of death damage by 3 to 6%. I don't know if that's a talent you already take or if this is trying to make it more appetizing, but symbols of death damage increase seems really valuable. Also, do note with sub-rogues, they're like completely overhauling them in a rework. I'll link the video at the end of this one that covered the changes for that. So some of this might seem surprising, like if you're thinking about Rogue right now, but Rogue is not, it's not going to play at all like it does right now. Shadow Blade's cooldown reduced to 1 minute and 30 down from 2, and this is one of those changes. Its duration is also reduced by 16 seconds. And first dance duration bonus for the next Shadow Dance increased to 4 seconds, up from 3. They're taking all the cooldown reduction away from Rogue, so making their cooldowns lower, just baseline, is probably compensatory. I think that's a word that I'm looking for. For Warrior, developers note some of these changes will be applied to the PTR via hotfixes or a newer build later. Colossus, Arterial Bleed causes Colossal Might to increase the damage dealt by deep wounds and Ren by 3% per stack, up from 2. Warrior buffs. You got a little buff there. It's not a lot, but it's a little. No Stranger to Pain increases total damage ignored pain by 20%, up from 15. A lot of people are playing Slayer though, so let's see. Ooh, you're overwhelmed only stacks to 10 from 12. Culling Cyclone bonus Bladestorm damage reduced to 15 from 20. Ooh. Opportunist now increases the damage and critical strike damage of your next overpower Raging Blow by 25 down. Ooh, Warrior nerfs. I take it back. Ooh. Brother, what? I'm sorry, Warriors. Hey, Fury Warriors, you are getting a baseline Raging Blow damage increase, though. So, I mean, maybe that makes sense. Nerf the amps to these spells and the hero talents, so the hero talents are more competitive, and then buff the baseline to compensate so you don't feel terrible playing Slayer. I think that could, but Arms isn't getting any compensation, it seems. But Bloodthirst is, with the 30% increase. It doesn't affect Bloodbath, though. Currently, Reckless Abandon is outperforming Anger Management in all situations, so we're bringing them closer in power by bringing up Raging Blow and Bloodthirst base damage, which will also improve Fury's baseline single target damage. So a little bit more sustained with those changes. For PvP, we see a whole bunch of items just getting PvP-specific nerfs, and they decided to just completely screw you guys over on Mage. You thought you were getting Deep Freeze. They turned it into a stun, an AoE stun. Then they made it a 40-second cooldown, and then bam, they hit you with it. It's going to be a root in PvP and not a stun. They do not want you guys having to stun mages. I'm sorry. I thought this was like the come up. You're finally going to get it. I can't believe they're doing this. And no. But Gravity Lapse will prefer players over pets, at least. I don't think that's going to change taking it. I don't think it's going to change taking it. Probably not going to change taking it. And Arachnophobia mode got a bunch of updates that I'm too scared to read the mode, let alone what it does. I'm also very tired. But that's it for the changes here in this most recent update. So hope you guys enjoyed this little catch up with the tuning notes. If you want to make sure you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then smash the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.